Hello everybody and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I have something really awesome in store for y'all today. Today we will be installing the UltraRacing Sway Bar and UltraRacing Torsion Bar for the rear suspension of any year 2014 to 2022 and beyond so far of the Mitsubishi Mirage. You will get all the hardware and stuff you will need to install, even including bolts, nuts, and stuff for the torsion bar, which I truly appreciate. Shout out to UltraRacingPro.com for all the parts they supply for this car. They are one of the few companies that actually support the Mitsubishi Mirage in their suspension parts. They have all sorts of stuff, and I will continue to buy from them as long as I don't have any issues with these parts when I put them on the car. So today we're going to be installing these, so let's get straight into it. The first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is chalk your front wheels, because you're going to be lifting up the rear end, and the rear end has the emergency brake and the parking brakes on it, so that is your only means of staying still. So when you lift that up, you don't have any means of staying still, so you're going to need to chalk your wheels. And if you are in a manual transmission, you will need to be putting it in first. If you are in a CVT, put it into park, and it will lock the front wheels to the transmission, and you will have less likelihood of rolling backwards. I did this to both sides. I put that wood there, I put the brick, chalk that in, and then I put that brick on and chalk that in. And after you're done chalking both wheels, what you're going to want to do is, while the rear end is still on the ground, take the emergency brake, have it completely off, take it, put it in neutral, and let the car roll back naturally onto your chalk to make sure that it's still, like, it actually will hold the weight of the car. And if that works, put it back into first or park and put the emergency brake back on, just in case the car falls or whatever situation happens, it won't roll on its own. But these are for your protection when you are lifting up the rear of the car, so do not skimp out on that. Once you have everything chalked, checked, you have the rear jacked up, put on jack stands, and then of course you're going to need your jack for this part as well. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take out the bolts that hold on these shocks to the torsion bar. Those are 17mm bolts. You're going to take both of those out. You're going to want to keep some pressure on the torsion bar while you do this, because you do not want to just drop the rear suspension. It kind of makes sense. And also, don't know what brake lines or anything that's back here that could be damaged if you just drop it. But the next thing we're going to want to do is, see those springs over there? We're going to want to either pull those out or get enough space in between them. Or actually, I'm just going to show you. Alright guys, so after you get the shocks off, you're going to want to lower the torsion bar. Not the shocks off, but the shock bolts off. You're going to want to take your plate and have it so the tapered side is facing up, because you want these bolts to sit flat. And you're going to want to be able to adjust these bolts afterwards, because you're not going to fully tighten them without the weight of the car on the springs, because that would cause unnecessary tension on the sway bar that you should only have during cornering or any other circumstance where a sway bar is needed. So what you're going to want to do is take your bag of bolts and your plate, and you're going to want to put 3 bolts in your plate, just like that. Okay? Yeah, okay. So how they want you to have it is the one point facing to the outer part of the vehicle. The other 2 points are going to go right there, and it lines up perfectly, just like that. Guys, so we all make mistakes in life, so I'm going to show this mistake. So the point part is supposed to be facing towards the back of the vehicle. The 2 points, it's hard to show. Okay, so this is the triangle, right? So this point was pointing towards the inside, or no, it was pointing like that towards the outside. So what we want it to do is point towards the back of the vehicle, so then the sway bar can mount correctly, because I'm an idiot. So that's fine, I'm an idiot, but I just wanted to let y'all know I had it wrong the first time. That's the correct way to have it, so then you can mount it correctly. Guys, before you put the spring back in, what you're going to want to do is install the rear sway bar hand tight. Then you're going to want to tighten all of your spring, all of your bolts. I went lock washer, spacer, and then I put the nut on for all 3 on both sides. That's the order I did it in. I'm going to use a 6mm Allen wrench, and then for the bolt, you're going to use a 17mm socket. So 6 mil on the top for Allen wrench, and then 17 on the bottom. Tighten all those down on both sides, make sure it's secure. Then we're gonna move on to putting our springs in. Okay guys, once you have your sway bar installed and your springs in, you can go ahead and lift till you get to the point where the shock lines up in the hole, and then you can put your shock bolts in. Then once you put your shock bolts in, you can load the suspension. But what I would do, slightly loosen the bolts, load the suspension, then tighten them on both sides just for the sway bar bolts, not the whole mounting bolt. And I'd say that's a successful install. There you go guys. Once it's lowered, double check all your mounting points, make sure they're all tightened, make sure your shocks are tightened. Before you do all that, you might want to get in the car, release the handbrake, and make sure that you have like no tension on the suspension at all. So like let the suspension settle, tighten everything down, and you are all set to go. The torsion bar, now this is a story that I can't figure out. There's holes that it lines up with, but the bolts they came with don't fit in the hole that is up here. So this will be for another video. I'm sorry guys, but I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know by hitting that like button. Until next time, I'll see ya.